Whether it's working with an editor, a screenwriter, an actor, or giving feedback on another director's project, it's really important that you as a director also know how to give feedback. And we have 4 tips on how to do just that in this video. All right, the first tip is from the podcast Script Notes with Craig Mason and John August. Really good podcast about screenwriting. But it basically is, know what kind of feedback they are asking for. This is especially important from when you're looking at someone else's cut or when you're looking at a screenplay that you might be interested in directing yourself. So what basically the premise behind it is if you've ordered a pizza and it's a pepperoni, you love pepperoni pizza. My kids love it, you love it, and it's pepperoni pizza. And you get a veggie lover supreme, and you're like, what is this? And someone's like, that's a great pizza. What are you talking about? What is this? And you're like, yeah, but it's not what I ordered. And that's the thing. It's got to be what they ordered. Now, maybe they wanted just grammar notes. Maybe they wanted whole story notes. Could they change everything about the story? Or are they already so far down the line that they can't change much and that they're just looking for very specific details, tweaks that might be made? And so you got to know what kind of feedback they're looking for. Tip number 2 comes from Pixar founders Ed Catmull's book, Creative Inc. Highly recommend it. But basically the idea is tactful candor. You want to give them honest feedback, but you don't want to go negative and like make it sure that it burns as you do it. So basically he gives this great story. There's this musician who's performing in front of her class teacher, who's a renowned musician himself. And she performs and the guy just stands there and just stares at her for a little bit after she performs. Because like, oh my gosh, what is he thinking? Did he like it? Did he not like it? All this is running through her mind as he's just sitting there. And then all of a sudden he erupts into beautiful, beautiful. This is just amazing. And he says, wow, great, this is great. And so he validates her work, validates the great things that she's done. And then he says, maybe a little bit here, change here. Maybe do this a little bit different here. Maybe do that little bit different thing here. And so, don't be patronizing. She was a really good musician, but like, don't immediately look for things that are to criticize. Look for things that are to be celebrated too. That also is extremely helpful. Remember, it's really hard to receive feedback. I feel like when I give feedback from somebody, I'm always expecting like, look, I did such a great job, validate me. And so it's important, validate them a little bit. It helps them hear you and your other thoughts a little bit more too. Because maybe they've done something great, and if it's hard to look for it, then say like, I really see so much promise here. That's the least thing you can do is see the promise, but really try to think about what's something positive you can do about it. Now, when you're giving this tactful candor to an actor, I want you to give maybe the praise to everybody out loud, say the great thing that they're doing out loud, and then come in close for the little bit of this, the little bit of that, so that they know that they're being celebrated with everybody, and then that the things that they need to fix are personal and private. So that's tact number 2. The next tip is be specific with your notes. You don't want to talk about in generalities. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't talk about the whole plot of the film and compare it or how it works or how it doesn't work, but you have to be specific in how it works or how it doesn't work. And then that also means, like you were in high school and middle school, where you have a thesis and you have supporting paragraphs, and in those supporting paragraphs you have details, you need to have supporting points about why something works or not. Hopefully more than one. It's okay if it's not more than one, because maybe it's very specific, which is great. But then you also want to have reference different movies. You can reference different shots. You can reference different performances. You can reference different creative mediums in general to make your point. But good way to give examples and ways that things are working and how they could work differently. And that brings into us our next thing, which is yes-anding. Now that's an improv term if you've ever done acting, where basically someone gives you something, and instead of shutting it down and saying, no, we're not doing it, like your kids might say, no, you don't say no, you say yes, and what about this? And you build upon it. So don't be Michael Scott in The Office who says, no, I have a gun. Don't do that. You want to say yes and build upon it. You want to give feedback that encourages them and gives them suggestions on how to make it better. It's one thing to be a critic. A critic, they just criticize people for doing things. But you need to be more than that. You need to be a person who has solutions, and they might not take your solutions, and that's fine. But at least you can see how maybe it works. You're not just giving them a dead end and say this doesn't work. You're saying this is how it could work. So yes, remember, give suggestions on possible fixes. Thank you for watching. Now, remember, one of the reasons it's not only important that you know how to give feedback for your own creative projects and other people's, but it's also important that you're building relationships with other filmmakers, because it's really easy to put the blinders on for your own projects as it is for other people to do the same. And when you have someone else's feedback, you can point out each other's a little bit of blemishes that they aren't seeing because they're so focused on what they want to see. And so it's important that you have those people in your corner, that you're giving their feedback, they're giving you feedback, and that's why it's important that you practice your skills as giving feedback to others. Now, thanks for watching. I hope you like and subscribe to the channel. We're all about making directors better and helping them as they progress and learn their craft. Thanks for watching.